Hello everyone, I'm Illinois Fire Alarms, and this is going to be how the system sensor i3 4WITAR-B works. It's quite the mouthful of a model number, but anyway, this detector here, like I said, is a system sensor 4WITAR-B. This is one out of the 10 different detector models in the system sensor i3 series, and is certainly the most unique. It has just about every accessory feature that an i3 can have, that being a built-in 135-degree heat detector, an aux Form C relay, and a temporal sounder. But what makes this i3 different from other i3 models is the fact that the thermal sensor, or the heat detector, is isolated. So basically what that means is that the smoke sensor and the heat sensor both can create two different types of alarm conditions. When activated by the smoke sensor, it creates a local alarm, and when activated by the heat sensor, it creates a general alarm. It's very similar to how the local alarm pull station concept works, just in smoke detector form. Now you may be wondering, well, where would this smoke detector be used? Well, they'd most commonly be found on actual i3 systems, which are good for residential homes or smaller buildings like gas stations. Now, as far as an isolated thermal sensor like this detector here, system sensor gives the example of them being used in a retirement facility, or basically anywhere where you need an actual local alarm. And I do have this detector wired up to my board right now, which would be as an example of a commercial fire alarm system, and you'll see how it doesn't really act too well with it, but it is still working, as you can see. As a quick overview, it has all the basic i3 features. It has the green blinking power indicator, the red alarm or trouble indicator, your test button, and the sounder up here. If I take the head off the base, you can see it has the basic relay base there with the normal wiring contacts here and then your relay contacts here. And this detector was only offered in a 4-wire version. There is no 2-wire version. Here's the back side of the head right there. It says do not mix with that model number. That's basically the 100 series counterpart, or the predecessor to this detector. And yeah, that's really all there is to this detector. So in this video, I'm going to be activating this detector in 3 different ways. First, I'm going to be activating it by its test button, then I'm going to activate it by smoke, and then finally activate it by heat. And you'll see how it acts in all 3 different ways. So to start out, I'm going to go ahead and activate it by the test button, how you would normally with any other i3. I'm going to press it and then immediately release. So here we go. As you can see, the red LED did come on, but immediately went out. And that is because the test button is actually a non-latching local alarm, meaning that it will only be activated as long as you hold the test button in. So this time I'm going to hold the test button and you'll see what happens. So as you can see, I held the test button in for a decent amount of time and it went into alarm. But as you saw, only this detector was going off and it did not create an alarm on the panel. And it doesn't matter how long you hold this down for, you can hold it down for as long as you want, the detector will continue to sound until you let go. So that is how the test button works on this detector. Alright, so now I'm going to activate the detector by smoke. Now, I don't really have a good way to do this, so what I'm going to be doing is lighting a tissue on fire and then blowing the smoke into the chamber. Now, I will say, please do not recreate this, as this can get dangerous pretty fast if not controlled. So please do not try this at home. But anyways, here we go. As you saw there, the detector went into alarm as normal, but it did not create an alarm on the zone. And that is how the local alarm works. It would have worked the same way if we're on an i3 system, only this i3 would have sounded. And I went ahead and hit reset to cut the power of this detector, since that's the only way to silence these sounder i3s is to cut the power to them. Now finally, I'm going to activate this detector by heat to create a general alarm. Now, not a lot of people on YouTube have actually shown themselves activating the heat detector on an i3, but if you don't know how to do it, basically you grab a hairdryer in my case, or any sort of heat source, and point it at one of the two thermistors on the side of the chamber, and hold it about a half a foot to a foot away to prevent melting the plastic. So, here we go. Alright, so as you saw there, the detector went into alarm by its heat sensor, and the panel did show an alarm on the zone. So that is how the general alarm is created. So if this were on a system of i3s, then now every i3 would be sounding along with this one. And of course, if this were an actual commercial fire alarm system, then the actual system would have gone into alarm and the alarms would be sounding. Alright, so that is how all the different functions of the system sensor i3 4WITAR-B work. Pretty interesting detector. As you can see, it doesn't work too well with a commercial fire alarm system example, but if you do have an i3 system, then this detector would work well for creating a local alarm if needed. But if you're a collector and you're planning on buying one of these detectors or wanting to get one, then I really wouldn't recommend it too much, since it's really just a glorified fancy electronic heat detector in this case, if you're using it on a commercial fire alarm panel. But anyway, that's going to be all for now, and I'll see you in the next video.